All right, great. Okay, I've introduced myself. I'm not going to redo it. Whoever is watching the replay, please go to my website. You'll find out a little bit about me. I just had forgotten to record. Okay, so let's move on. What are we going to cover? We are going to cover self-confidence versus self-esteem. We're going to talk about the myths about self-confidence, why we have fear and doubt, even after success. You know, this can happen. It happens a lot more, actually, to people who are successful than it does to those who are not. Although the people who are not successful do experience it, definitely. But it's very common among people who are successful for somebody to kind of lose their self-confidence, if I can use that word. And I'm going to give you some simple steps to boost your self-confidence. So by the time you're done here, I expect that you've taken something that you can put in practice. Okay, so why do we even talk about self-confidence? Why do we need it? For anybody who desires success in their life, I mean, this is a prerequisite. You cannot be able to step out of your comfort zone and do something you've never done, to be able to get something you've never gotten, if you do not work on your self-confidence. All right. But what does it do when we increase our self-confidence? Of course, it emphasizes our strengths. We are able to act on our strengths every time we step out and try to achieve something. We are constantly thinking of what we are good at and focusing on that, on what we are good at. And that's what we call strength self-efficacy. All right. We're able to build a good self-image for ourselves. And how many people are invited or given more when they have a strong self-image? Several people actually do. Several people get opportunities simply because of their self-image. Think about somebody you know, all right? We are able to achieve our goals because we are taking risks. When we do take risks, nothing gets in our way, right? Oh, the things that get in our way, we know how to strategize and be able to move forward and achieve our goals. And with a stronger self-confidence, we are willing to give, we're willing to help. We create an abundance mentality. I love this title, Happiness and Confidence, rather this quote by Taylor Swift. Happiness and confidence are the prettiest things you can wear. I mean, how does that feel when you think about that, right? I'm sure it creates a positive emotion, different kind of emotion, right? Okay. Moving on swiftly. Self-confidence versus self-esteem. What's the difference? All right. Self-esteem, basically, it's the individual's positive and negative attitude towards themselves. That's it. You know, that really is. And self-esteem is intrinsic. It's internal versus self-confidence, which is external. So self-confidence is the ability to trust yourself, right? So many of us sometimes don't realize that what is really holding us back is just that, just self-trust, and that's it. And that's all we need to work on. Self-esteem, as I said earlier, it's how you feel about yourself. It is guided by your thoughts and your feelings and your behavior. Self-confidence is also guided by your thoughts and your feelings and your behaviors. However, self-esteem is an internal experience. It is what you think about yourself. It is what you believe about yourself. It is your appraisal of your self-worth, and it's formed very early on in life, usually from how we are raised. That's where that comes from. Whereas self-confidence, you know, do I trust myself? Do I trust that I can do A, B, C? Do I trust that I can take the risk? Do I trust that I can achieve my goals? To succeed, you need self-confidence. It's an outward experience. It's an experience that you can grow even without, you know, if you've come a long way with very little of it, or you've had it at some point and you lost it. It is something you can work on and build again. And it comes, you know, it is impacted a lot by our knowledge, how we seek knowledge, what we seek knowledge, and what benefits us from the knowledge that we seek. You know, when you have a high self-esteem, you're very confident in who you are, in that income does not determine who you are or your status, right? There's lesser fear of failure. Of course, you're able to go out, step out of your comfort zone and do what you need to do to achieve what you want to achieve. And you're also, sorry, I want to change this view thing. I'll figure it out. Okay. You're able to you're able to step out of your comfort zone and be able to do what you need to do. And you're open to experiences. You know, if you have a high self-esteem, it actually is a precursor to your self-confidence, right? Now, can you have either or? It's absolutely possible that somebody can have a high self-esteem and not have self-confidence, or that somebody can have self-confidence and not have a high self-esteem. I'll give you an example. Do you see the athletes that, you see athletes, right? Sometimes when you follow an athlete, you will, you know, if you follow somebody, an athlete or somebody who has been successful, who has had some success in one area of their life, you might actually find that their self-esteem is low because the success they've achieved in that one area of their life, they've practiced. You know, a good example is an athlete. They've practiced and practiced and practiced and achieved that self-confidence in what they're good at. However, when they are placed in another area where they haven't tried, you know, practiced or tried anything, or maybe running a business, right? You find that their self-esteem and trying out so many other things is low. So yes, somebody can have either or. However, what we always want to do is, especially for success, is figure out where we need to do the work. Is it self-esteem? Is it self-confidence? Today, we're specifically talking about self-confidence. Now, I want you to take 1 minute. If you think you want to work on your self-confidence, give yourself a rating right now. You can post it in the chat or you can write it on a piece of paper. Give yourself a rating right now. And when you're done, ask yourself, why am I rating myself this way? We are going to come back to that, all right? I want you to know where you're starting. And by the end of the conversation, or by the end of this webinar, you're going to have a place to start to boost, or you will have shifted a little, depending on how you feel by the end of the webinar, all right? Okay, so what are the myths about self-confidence? Well, some people think that we are born with it. That can be so wrong. It is not true at all. All right. Self-confidence is built over time. It is something that's practiced and created over time. Some people think that you have to be successful to have it. Absolutely not. Very many successful people, like myself, have struggled with self-confidence. Now, I used to be a recruiter with NFT Consult. I was a director in that company and I left. And after I left, went into this whole self-discovery period for about 2 years, where I was trying to figure out who I was. Now, I went from being successful to absolutely not knowing what I wanted to be, who I wanted to be, how I wanted to make a contribution, you know? So we get, you know, depending on where you are in your life, you can have such low self-confidence that sometimes you're wondering, where is this coming from? Once I figured out what I wanted to be, I got into coaching. Then I get into coaching. Now I start my own business. I started my own business in 2018. That's what, 5 years ago? But I spent the first 2 years working on myself, working on all my weaknesses, all of my emotional challenges, all of, you know, basically I went into this personal growth, you know, it was, I had such a deep desire for personal growth that I went into that, and I spent 2 years stuck in it. And all the while, I'm just building my self-confidence to be able to do business again. Now I'm going out as a solopreneur versus what I was before as a partner. All right. So sometimes it just, you know, dips depending on the events that are happening in your life. You have to be an extrovert to have it. Absolutely not. Even extroverts struggle with self-confidence, because put an extrovert in a new position where they have to learn new things, or yeah, they have new experiences that they've never done before. They're absolutely going to struggle because now they have to do some work, practice, or go through those new experiences to be able to boost their self-confidence. All right. Confident people are confident all the time. No. All right. Goes back to my point number 2, that when you've built success, it does help with your confidence. However, it is not often always that you're confident. I mean, when I was getting ready to do this webinar, you should have seen me yesterday. I was in panic mode because I did not do anything yesterday in regards to this webinar. I was so busy. I had so much to do. And then at the end of the day, I started panicking. I'm thinking, geez, do I have all my T's crossed, my I's dotted? And I had a little dip in self-confidence, although I knew that once I sat down and taken care of everything that I needed to take care of, that then my self-confidence will be boosted back up again. All right. So it is not true that confident people are always confident. Absolutely not. All right. Uh-oh. Why isn't it moving? Oh, there we go. All right. I like this quote. Confidence, not cockiness. Knowing who you are is confidence. Cockiness is knowing who you are and pushing it down everyone's throat. Now, ladies, why did I pull out this quote? Because we are raised in a society where sometimes we are led to believe, especially as women, where we're led to believe that if I am confident, I am being cocky. Now, let's move on from society and move into religion, especially for the Muslim sisters like myself. I wasn't raised to not believe that I can be confident. However, I've come across so many Muslim women who believe that confidence is cockiness, and they just will not work on themselves to increase their confidence to be able to work in certain roles or do certain things. And that is why we see a lot of sisters opting for marriage. I would rather get married, have a man take care of me, as opposed to me trying to find out what contribution I can make to this world, right? My contribution right now is coaching. With coaching, I'm doing stuff like this to get you all, to be able to build up on your self-confidence and achieve that success that you want. I am giving back. When I am not doing what I am doing, I am not living a fulfilled life. So a lot of women are taught not to be able to do that because of this, thinking that confidence is cockiness. All right. So let's drop that thinking about ourselves. All right. So why do we have fear and doubt even after success? Number one reason is you don't trust yourself, right? Remember, self-confidence is striving to do something that you haven't done before so you can experience it, so you can gain that or boost that confidence. When you don't trust yourself, you're not going to be able to improve, or boost your self-confidence. You do not manage your mind. Reason I have this in capital letters is because this is what we're going to do today. We're going to do some little work about managing your mind so you can be able to boost your self-confidence, all right? You are afraid of feeling your emotions. Not many of us think about this every day. Not many of us understand what our feelings do for us or what our emotions do for us, all right? I'm going to ask you to hold them for just 1 second. Sorry, I had to get rid of that distraction. Okay, so you are afraid of feeling your emotions. How many of us in the chat, tell me, how many of us think about how we are feeling and actually know what to do with our feelings on a daily basis? And I'm not talking about suppressing them or pushing them aside and say, you know what, I'm not going to feel disappointed, or I'm not going to feel the fear, or I'm not going to feel anxious. How many of us try to push our feelings away on a daily basis when we want to get through something? Or how many of us pay attention to what's going on with our feelings? right? Anybody? How many of us know how to do that? I do not see my chat. This thing is so sophisticated sometimes for me. I need to pull this bar down where I can manage it. All right, there we go. Okay, yeah. So how many of us do that? Not many, right? Because we're not taught how to deal with our feelings. We are not taught how to use our feelings to our advantage. Someone in the chat is saying, I always feel overwhelmed, although I try. Yes, overwhelm can happen in so many ways and so often. And what do we do about it? We want to push it away and say, I don't want to feel overwhelmed. I don't want to feel this, right? So today I'm going to teach you a little bit about what feelings do for us and why we benefit from them. You are afraid to take risks. Yep, with low self-confidence, you're not able to take risks and you're not able to go for that promotion or even go for that marriage. Sometimes people turn down a marriage because they don't feel that they can match up to the person, right? Or you seek perfection. Perfection is the biggest killer of trying to be the best that you want to be. I want you to tell me right now, if you think you're a perfectionist, how do you measure perfection? Think about that or dream over that. How do you measure perfection? Who can measure perfection? Where's the bar? Who sets the bar anyways, right? That's one way to kill our self-confidence. Somebody saying, I'm always anxious, scared, or scared of stuff. Yes, anxiety and these feelings are genuine, by the way. Thank you for sharing, Santa Mary. These feelings are genuine. So it doesn't benefit us to push them away or to try to get rid of them. First thing we always have to do is acknowledge that this is what I'm feeling. Once you acknowledge that, then you're able to do something about it. All right? Okay. You always seek for what's wrong. Do you do that? Everybody, do you seek for what's wrong in what you're doing? I know I used to, and I still do. It's a human thing, right? We have a tendency of seeking for what's wrong. Sorry, this distraction is just killing me. The distraction is killing me out here, so I had to get rid of it. All right. Do you always seek for what's wrong? Are you always criticizing yourself, what you've done and how you've done it and how you should have done it? Both at work and especially in relationships as well. We are thinking, I should have known better. I should have done this. I should have done that. All right. That is how we deplete our self-confidence. All right, next. Sometimes my next button is not working. My next is not working. I don't understand why. Okay. Here's what we say to ourselves that kills our self-confidence. Failure is a weakness. If you've said that to yourself, you are killing your self-confidence. Because who doesn't fail in this world? Who does not fail? Find that one person that you admire and look into their life and find out if they've never failed before. I'm different from someone who is super successful. Why? Why are you different? Ask yourself that question. The why will tell you whether it's affecting your self-confidence or not. I don't know how. My goodness, this used to kill me. When I was in my previous business, I had a team of people reporting to me. And anytime somebody came to me with, I don't know how, I would be like, look, how about you come to me with, I have tried, and this is what I've come up with, instead of I don't know how. So ladies, I cannot emphasize this enough. Take that statement out of your vocabulary. Take it out. Do not say to yourself, I don't know how. You can find out how. Trust me. What you need to be asking your brain is, I would like to know how to do this. All right. Next, they are different, special, privileged, and lucky, especially in a society like this one. This is something we all hear too often, don't we? Because of the divide, the economic divide amongst people, right? The scarcity mentality. We always hear people talking about how different, special, and privileged some are, and we are not. Rejection is the worst thing that can happen. How many of us have faced rejection? I face rejection every day, every day, because when I put myself out there to market my business, people are looking at it and thinking, yeah. And that some people are coming and talking to me, and signing up people for consultation calls. Not everybody who signs up to talk to me on a consultation call eventually books for business. Nope. Rejection every day. Every time I put a post out on any of my social media platforms, I know I'm going to face rejection that day, because people may not comment, people may not see it, people may not talk about it, people, it's rejection every day. So we need to know that rejection is part of life. Other people's opinions define me. You may not say this to yourself, but you might absolutely be thinking it. And this is how you think it. I need approval from somebody else. I need my boss to tell me that I'm doing a good job. I need my boss to recognize that I'm doing a good job. Or I need my colleague to recognize that I am the one who put so much in that project that we did together. I need my dad to tell me he loves me, or my mom to tell me she loves me. I need them to do it. I need somebody's approval all the time. When you need approval, you're letting people define who you are. The less risk I take, the better. Really? I mean, the higher the law of risk is, the higher the risk, the higher the rewards, right? Isn't that true? Yeah. The higher the risk, the higher the rewards. So we want to be able to take more risk, get more rewards. If we want to create a life that we want, a life that's extraordinary, we have to take extraordinary risk. Of course, well thought out risk. You don't just create risk, okay? So I want us to go, I've talked a little bit. So I want us to go into an exercise here. Grab that pen, piece of paper, and write some things down. We're going to go through a few exercises to the end of the webinar. And at the end, we shall have come to something, something better for you. All right. So in what area do you believe you do not have enough self-confidence? In what area in your life? In what area in your life do you believe you need to improve your self-confidence? Could rephrase the question that way. All right. Write that down. When you're done with that, what evidence do you have that you need to improve your self-confidence in that area? What evidence do you have? Write these questions down. And actually, I'm going to have the webinar posted, so you can always refer back to it. But write these questions down in case you're not able to come up with the answers. You will think through these answers, because it's crucial. If you're going to work on something, you have to know the problem, right? You start solving a problem by knowing the problem to begin with. And sometimes we're solving symptoms instead of the actual problem. All right. So what thoughts do you have that are preventing your self-confidence? What are you thinking about yourself? That one thing that you believe you need, with the area where you need to improve your self-confidence, what thoughts do you have about that one area that are preventing your self-confidence? Are you telling yourself, I'm not good at this? I cannot do this. I've never done it before. What thoughts are you telling yourself in that one area you want to improve? I want you to be able to take that one area after this webinar and continue to work on it, because we're going to see how you can take massive action in the right direction. All right. So write those down. What results do you want to create instead in this one area? Think about what you want, who you want to be. what results you want to create, you know. Think about that person that if I had the self-confidence, I would be, or I would have, or I would create. Answer that question along those lines. I told you this is going to be an interactive session. So if we were, I'm using coaching techniques here to be able to get you to whatever it is, the blockages out of your mind. So let's think about that. Now, after you've written that, put it aside. We shall get back to it. Okay. So how do you boost your self-confidence? Number one, you have to change your beliefs. Those limiting beliefs, you have to get rid of them, and you can get rid of them. Think of the brain as a muscle, right? When you go to the gym and you're working out, say you're working out your forearm, you go over your, sorry, your bicep. You're going to have to lift so many weights for that muscle to grow, right? Or to strengthen. And it's the same thing we do with our brain, with our thoughts, that if we want to create new thoughts, we have to change the ones that we believe to new ones. So you want to get rid of those limiting beliefs. Now, how do we do that? From the previous exercise, I want you to take one negative thought that you wrote in that exercise. Maybe the thought was, I cannot do this. I don't know how to do this. And it's okay to write these sentences. They're being offered by the brain. Do not judge yourself, ladies, please. Do not judge yourself. Just write. This is for you. It's not for anybody else. All right, so just write. After you've written down that negative thought, I want you to ask yourself, what new thought do I want to believe? What new thought do I want to believe about myself, or about a certain experience, or about my capabilities? Just come up with any. The first one that's offered by your brain, that's the one you want to write down. Seriously, there is magic to that, by the way. There's magic to listening to that intuition. Yeah. So the first thought that comes to mind, if you want to believe that, you know, I can create success, I am successful, I am strong, I am beautiful, whatever, just write it down. Write down the new thought. Right? And then when you're done, how does the thought feel when you think it today? Today, right now, that new thought that you want to believe about yourself, that's going to make you feel good. How does it feel when you think it? Yeah. So write that down for yourself. And then I want you to think, you know, pay attention to your brain right now. What is it saying? Are there any conflicting statements? Because assuming you want to, say, go for a promotion, right? And you're thinking, I'm not going to succeed. So-and-so is better than me, you know. But then also what now the new thought you want to believe is, you know what, I can do this. I can do this. That's just a thought. I can do this is the thought you want to believe. You know, how does it feel when you think I can do this? Now, when you say I can do this, what else is your brain saying? What other conflicting sentences is your brain saying? Is your brain telling you you're lying to yourself? Please. Yeah. So write those down as well. Okay. And I'll give you just a few more, half a minute. All right. Moving on. Now this is where, you know, the power within you is going to be brought out by this next exercise. Okay. I want you to say to yourself, or rather to write a note to yourself from your future self. Now, remember you said that you want to be, when you're confident in that one area in your life, you want to be able to achieve X in that one area. So I want you to think about yourself as though you're already there. Like you've already achieved that confidence. If it's a promotion, you went ahead and applied for it, and you're now sitting there and waiting for it. And your future self now is there I already did this. I put in my application and I'm happy I did it, right? And you're feeling proud about yourself. So your future self is already living this new belief. What would you say to you today? Go to that future person, have that future self give you advice today. What would you say to yourself today? Write a couple of sentences down. Let me see. What time do we have? It's 4:38. All right. I want you to write a few sentences down about what kind of advice you would give yourself. Yeah. And if you're not able to write something that's, you're not able to think of something in the future, go back to an experience that you had in your life where you were able to confidently achieve a certain success, right? And compare the person that you were before you tried and the person that you are now. The easiest thing is if you are in a job right now, right? Compare the person that applied for that job and the person that you are today. What advice would you give that person before you applied for the job, who you were then? What advice would you give them then? All right. So take that experience, write it down for yourself. Someone said, note to self in the future, it didn't matter that much. I love that. We make such a big deal about certain things that are happening to us right now. And later on, you're like, wait a minute, why was I stressing? In fact, what I always advise my clients is when something is stressing them right now, I always ask the question, will it be stressing you 5 days from now, 2 weeks from now, 3 months from now? And if the answer is no, then we work through getting to that point where the stress is a lot less, much quicker than waiting 5 days or 3 months. All right. So always ask yourself that question. Will I be stressing over this in the future? All right. Okay. So how do you believe new thoughts? If you're the type of person who's always believed that it matters what other people think about me, and this is such a culture thing, especially for us in Uganda, or I don't know if it's an African thing, but we are raised to always worry about what other people think about us. Isn't that the truth? Right? So we grow up thinking, someone says, big deal, always. Yes, we grow up thinking that we always have to impress people. Yeah. What others think about me is 100% about them. That's the thought I want you to practice right now. Practicing thoughts. When I say practice a thought, by the way, it's like building that muscle, like I said earlier. So every time you practice a thought, you're actually going to be building new muscle in your brain, and eventually you're going to believe it. This is why people practice affirmation, because they'll say to themselves these things again and again and again until they believe them. And that the people who say that affirmations work for them, don't brush them off. They work for them because they've said it so many times until they believe it. So this is what I mean by practice these thoughts. All right. What other people think about me is 100% about them. I was made for this. I was made for this. Now, at this moment, I want you to take a moment and just pause, right? Take a pause for a minute. Now, I want you to focus on your breath. As you breathe in, just focus on your breath and where it's going. As it goes up through your nostrils and through the brain, Just follow it where it's going. Take it there. Take it there with your mind. Just follow the breath. Take it there with your mind. And when it gets there, follow it back out. Breathe in, take it there with your mind. Follow it back out. Breathe in and follow the breath back out. This is a meditation exercise, by the way. So what we do is when you follow your breath, you're releasing a lot of the thoughts, the distraction in your mind. So now that we've released that distraction, look at that number 2 and say, I was made for this. Whatever it is that you want to try out, achieve, create. When you say, I was made for this, it's going to change how you feel on the inside. It should change how you feel on the inside, even if it's for a brief moment. All right? Fear is no big deal. It is no big deal, people. It is no big deal. On the other side of fear, what do we have? We have an achievement. Even if you try something with fear and do not achieve it, the practice itself is what builds your self-confidence. All right? I am capable. I am capable. It's a very difficult thing to believe. I am capable can be very difficult to believe. If you don't believe I am capable, I want you to think, I believe I can be capable. All right? Because I am capable might be too far. I believe I can be capable. And, just experience that. Whatever thought you want to choose out of these, by the way, you don't have to choose to do all of them. Just choose one that you resonate with. Choose one. Yes, whatever you want is on the other side of fear. Absolutely true, Mia. So choose a thought that you resonate with and just practice it, and practice that breath, right? That moment of focusing your mind rather on your breath. It clears the mind a lot. The worst that can happen is a feeling. I promise you, ladies, I promise you, the worst that can happen is a feeling. That's the worst that can happen. That's it. And we're going to talk about a feeling a little bit more. I have my own back. Wouldn't it be the greatest thing to have your own back and nobody else has it for you? Think about that. Think about it for a moment. Isn't it the greatest thing? I mean, it brings me a lot of joy to know that I can take care of myself. Not in everything. Of course, I need to ask for help sometimes. Always. I am human. Relationships are the strongest, most important thing that we need to be able to maintain to survive, right? We always need to ask for help when it's necessary, but asking for help, knowing that you have your own back, makes it even a lot more worthwhile. You know what I mean? That's how you increase your self-confidence. I have my own back. Whatever happens, I have my own back. If I don't get that job, I have my own back. If I don't get that promotion, I have my own back. If I don't get that man, I have my own back. Whatever it is you want. If my business fails, I have my own back. All right? Think about that for a minute, ladies. Power statements here. My potential is limitless. If you're like many of us who grew up, African parents, they'll tell you that, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do this. You can't do that. So and so it's better today. Not just African parents. It happens all over the world. When we are raised with that kind of criticism, or is it condescending talk, or we are led to believe that we cannot achieve beyond our imagination. Ladies, trust me, your potential is limitless. The only thing that's holding you back is just right here. That's it. Just your mind, and that's it. All right. Failure earns success. For those of us who fear failure, every successful person out there has failed so many times before they succeeded. So take that with you and know that you're not alone. All right. The better I fail, the more confident I am. What way to follow on from number 8? Totally. Because when you fail, what happens? You have learned so much through that process. Enjoy the process, not the result. And when you enjoy the process, you're learning a lot from that process, building your confidence from that process. That confidence that you're building is what you're going to take then to the next experience. All right. Worry only pretends to be necessary. You know, I want you to think for a minute. When you're worried about something, what can you do about it? Anything? Unless it's in your control. But when you're worried about something that's out of your control, I applied to this job and I am afraid. I had a client who put in a job application and our discussion was entirely about how she shows up to the interview. Man, when I was talking to her, she was a nervous wreck in the beginning. And I think it must have been about 2 months later, she calls me and she says, I got the job. Because we stopped worrying. We accepted that the fear is there, but if the fear is there, how do we show up? We focused on the strengths. What am I good at? Can I just think about my strengths and focus on those instead of thinking about my weaknesses? Let me know my weaknesses for now, but they're not going to help me in the interview, right? In the interview, you want to present your best self, not the person that's so weak that, you know what, I can improve and I am so weak. No, you want to go in with, I know I have these strengths and I can use them. And this is what's going to benefit your organization. The weaknesses, I can work on those and be even better. All right. So worry only pretends to be necessary. In fact, when we are teaching in the kind of coaching that I do, which is emotional intelligence-based tools that I use, we get rid of worry because we can't do anything about it. We really can't. It's okay to worry about a loved one, maybe who's in hospital, who's not well. Because of the love and connection that you have with them, you're worried about their experience and the outcome, what the outcome might be. So that's okay. But even then, we always try to channel, people who practice grief coaching will try to channel that worry into something positive. Okay. So worries are necessary, especially for material things. Please, please drop that worry. So what? So what? Sometimes somebody's going to ask you that question and somebody did this. No, but so what? When I ask it as a coach, I'm asking with good intention that so what? The reason I'm asking so what is to try and change your perspective. So you get in the practice of asking yourself that question. So what if I apply and I don't get that job? So what if I try to pitch this proposal and it doesn't go through? So what if I try to be a fashion model and it doesn't work out? So what? You know what I mean? So what? These are things that are not going to be written on your tombstone. That's for sure. All right. I am capable. Did we say I'm capable? I think we did in the beginning or something similar. Okay. Now, I want you to, after you've practiced those thoughts, you now need to put yourself into action, right? So this is the second tip. How do we take massive action? Or why do we need to take massive action? Because if we don't progress, if we don't move forward to the next step, we are preventing our self-confidence. You can only build your self-confidence when you try. All you have to do is just try. Try and then believe that whatever happens, I'm not going to judge myself. I am being true to myself. When you don't judge yourself, you do not allow others to judge you. All right? Anytime you're accepting judgment to affect you, it's because you judge yourself too much. So progress one step at a time. Believe that I can take that one step. And once I take that one step, I'm going to be a different person, whether I achieve what I want to achieve or not. Okay? Do the stuff that you were scared to do. Step out of your comfort zone, you know? So what? You do a little scary thing. Because you're going to be less scared after that, after you do it. Isn't that true? Because how else are you going to find out that you can grow stronger? And then do this again. Repeat. Massive action means that I'm going to do it and I'm going to repeat and I'm going to repeat and I'm going to repeat until I get to what I want. When you're starting a business, you're taking a chance on yourself. And anybody who starts a business believes they can make that business work out. But there's so many, one of the things that I do when somebody's talking to me about running a business and they're writing a business plan, I'm like, look, throw out the business plan. What you need to focus on is these are the reasons why this business can work out. These are the reasons why this business can fail. Now we take the reasons why this business can fail and create a strategy for it. That's the business plan, period. But going on about this and that, of course, you've done your SWOT analysis to be able to determine whether it's why it can fail and why it can succeed. But business plans, it's just paralysis analysis. If you are a business plan writer, I'm sorry. But taking massive action doesn't mean that I'm going to spend weeks writing a business plan. I've had this experience before with an investment club where we wanted to invest in something, and we people were proposing we write a business plan. And of course, back then I was thinking, God, business plan, this is going to take forever. But I didn't really know why I believed it wasn't a good idea. It's not until I got into coaching that I realized that, taking massive action gets you there quicker. So, and part of taking massive action is just, let's get on and do it. We will find out what happens or whatever challenges we have in the process. But yes, why is it going to work out? Why is it not going to work out? Whether it's a business plan, whether it's a project, whatever it is that you're working on, why will it work out? Why will it not work out? Why will it not work out? Then strategy for why it will not work out. That's all you need. All right. Honor your decisions. When you keep bouncing back and forth away from your decisions, oh, I made this decision, then I'm off, then going in and out. I'm not. And you're not honoring yourself. You are not honoring yourself. And if you don't honor yourself, why do you expect somebody else to honor you? All right. Think about that. Honor your decisions. Give up the need for other people's approval. We've talked about that before. Look, anybody who, if you're waiting for somebody's approval, they're going to bring their approval based on the way they see the world, not based on how you see the world. So you approve of yourself based on how you see the world. That's the most rewarding approval. All right. Learn by doing, learn by taking action to find out how. Don't compare yourself to others. Don't compare yourself to others is a whole new webinar title, right? Seriously, because we do. I still do, of course. But I am aware when I'm comparing myself, and I'm aware what it does when I compare myself, and I'll work through that comparison. I still do, totally. I mean, I look at my business and I look at the people that I follow who are successful by doing, I enjoy speaking on stages. So people who are speaking out there and making all of this money speaking, or people who are booking group coaching calls, which I haven't started doing. I'm thinking, man, I want to do that. Why don't I do that? It's a process. I forget sometimes to focus on the process myself. Okay. So comparing yourself to others, it's a killer of the joy. Really. The joy is you. It's within. Okay. Don't be offended ever. You come to me and tell me I'm stupid, I'm going to be like, okay, that's your opinion. How about we move on? Seriously. Because how are you going to please everybody? You can't. Let them judge you. Give them the authority to judge you. The judgment says a lot about who they are, way more than it says anything about who you are. All right? All right, my people, those are the things that we need to be doing to take that massive action. Don't live in fear of haters. Haters will always be there. I like, I think it was Oprah Winfrey who said, haters led her to her success, because remember the struggle that she had to go through to be, in her business. I mean, she started out as a as a presenter on TV, and she was fired for being Black and having, funny hair, our hair. And now everybody wants to be her, right? She was fired because of the haters. But guess where she is now? Haters are good for the soul. You could think about them that way. Okay. All right, people. Let's talk about feelings for a minute. How much time do we have? Oh, I guess my slides are longer than an hour. So feelings are vibrations that run through the body and they will eventually pass. They totally just pass. So when you're feeling sad in a moment, sit there, do the breath work that I just did a few slides ago, and just accept that I am feeling sad. That's all. Because guess what? Eventually, that vibration is going to go and move on. And you move on. It may show up every so often when you think about the incident that makes you, or the circumstance that made you feel sad, but it's going to move on. It will move on. You were sad 3 years ago about something that you don't care about right now. You don't give a nothing about that thing right now. And when you think back, you even laugh. It doesn't make you sad anymore. You see what I mean? So just allow the sadness to be there. It will go away. It's just a vibration. It will move on. All right. The more you allow yourself to feel, the more likely you are going to take action. So when they say on the other side of fear is greatness or success or whatever it is, that's what they mean. Allow yourself to feel the fear. Let the fear be there and just say, you know what? The fear is present. I can't do anything about it. The anxiety, the two things that we normally struggle with is fear and anxiety. I am always anxious before I come onto these webinars. Always. I accepted that I'm always going to be anxious. And I just sit there with my anxiety, do some breath work. It doesn't go anywhere. The intensity will decrease when I accept it's there. So that's what you need to learn about feeling. The fear is there, the anxiety is there. I'm just going to accept it. When you accept it, the intensity decreases because you're not pushing it away, you're not forcing it away, or you're not suppressing. If you suppress it, it will show up louder than ever. And you don't want that to happen. This is how we use feelings to our benefit. So it is okay to feel scared. It's okay to feel afraid or to be anxious, because the worst that can happen is just a feeling. And I've told you, the feeling will go away. Don't let it hold you hostage, or you shouldn't hold it hostage. It will go away. Okay. It takes practice. It takes practice, but there are meditations out there that you can use to be able to understand how to feel the fear or how to feel a feeling. Every time I go through a coaching session with somebody, we go through these practices just to teach you how to be able to that's what they mean by emotional intelligence, by the way. It's knowing that I'm feeling a certain way, and if I'm feeling a certain way, these are going to be my actions. If these are going to be my actions, this is how my actions are going to affect the ecosystem. And if they affect everybody around me, this is the result I'm going to create. That's all. That's what emotional intelligence means. Knowing your emotions and what they do for you or do not do for you. All right. So moving on, courage is resistance to fear, mastery of fear. It is not the absence of fear. All right. Sometimes we just can't do anything about that emotion. We just have to learn to live with it. All right. Remember that I said feeling is the worst thing that can happen to you. So I want you to ask yourself, from the exercises that we've been doing, right? The exercises that we've been doing up to that we did on thoughts, the exercises that we did, the belief exercises, and that one thing that you want to work on. Now, I want you to ask yourself, what is the one action I can take today to get me closer to where I want to be? Just one little thing. That one action might be, I need to write a paragraph today. Maybe you're working on a project that you really, you're striving at this project or proposal or something, and you really want it. You're a business owner. You want to get that business. It's a cleaning business. You want to get that business to clean the Crested Towers, all right? That proposal, you want it so badly. What's the one action I can take today? So maybe you just need to write one page, one paragraph. I don't know, one little action, right? If it's your CV you want to work on, maybe that you need to work on, maybe to be able to structure it in a way that's going to be appealing for that job. Tip, anytime you're applying for a job, a promotion, whatever it is, look at your CV and what it is saying, look at the job description and what it is saying. The two have to, what's the word? They have to meet or match or whatever the word is. English is my second language. So whatever the word is, look at that job description and your CV. Do they make sense to each other? Can they communicate? All right. Work on that CV. Just one little action is all you need to take. The reason we feel overwhelmed, somebody spoke about overwhelm earlier. The reason we feel overwhelmed is because we have all of these things that we want to do in our heads, and we're not putting them down on paper. We're not taking action on them. That's why we're overwhelmed. One little thing. Go back to your exercise, that one little thing that you want to do to move you forward. Now, I want you to think, if I'm going to do this next step, what is going to get in the way? Yeah? What's going to get in the way? Think about that. Think about what's going to get in the way. And write it down, because those are our obstacles. When you write them down, then you create a strategy. Trust me, the overwhelm is going to go away because now you have a plan. All right. Okay, so that's how we're going to do the action exercise. And what do you believe you can change? Focus on what you have control over. That's it. Why we stress is because we tend to focus on what we do not have control over. Focus only on what you have control over. That's all you need. If you have no control over it, you're going to kill yourself with stress. Okay? All right. Now, I believe that you're going to take that action after this webinar. You're going to sit, think about it, think about how you feel, how you want to feel, take that advice from your future self and listen to it, start taking action. All you need to do is take action, and nobody's asking you to take action. You need to hold yourself accountable, and that's it. Physical tips, stand up tall. I mean, these tips are, if all else fails, if trying to get rid of those limiting beliefs seems like a tough journey, or I cannot, these feelings are still here, I'm still struggling, I cannot take action. If all those 3 steps fail, these are the easy tips, because you have a lot of control over who you are and how you present yourself. Stand tall, open your chest, breathe like you mean it, dress up and own it, right? When somebody gives you a compliment, say, thank you. Don't say, oh, it's nothing. Say thank you confidently. Because when you got up in the morning and decided to wear what you wanted to wear, right? It took time and effort. Or maybe it didn't take time. Sometimes we just throw on something and be like, this will be fine. Own it. Own it. If you look shabby, be like, if somebody says you look shabby, well, and you believe you look shabby, oh, well, that's just what's happened today. And that's it. It's not going to affect anybody or kill anybody. Just own it, whatever it is. Speak up. Speak up, ladies. Let's learn to speak up. Sorry, I should have switched this phone off. Let's learn to speak up, all right? Smile always. That smile, it's a physical thing, but it's also going to change your internal experience. Smile, it's going to change your feeling. Look at yourself in the mirror and smile. If you don't have anybody else to smile to, look at yourself in the mirror and smile. If you choose to smile to somebody else, do it to put a smile on their face. If they choose to smile back, it's okay. If they don't, it's okay too. Do it because of how it's going to make you feel, not how it's going to make the other person feel. Talk about your future only to a handful of people who you trust, who wish the best for you. Not everybody, all right? Not everybody wishes the best for you. Read and listen to positivity. I do this all the time. Sometimes it's annoying. Sometimes I ignore. I don't show up for myself for other things because I'm just constantly looking for positivity, as if. But at any rate, it's very helpful. All right, ladies. Give compliments all day and mean them. Totally mean them. Personally, I've gotten into that practice over the years, where if I'm being served at a shop or whatever, any place that I'm talking to a stranger, I look for something to compliment them. And they light up at the bank, anywhere. It lights up somebody's face. It totally does. And it just makes me feel good to light them up. And it makes me feel good that I have the confidence to compliment somebody. Memorize what courage feels like. How do you memorize that? You go back to an incident, a situation, circumstance from the past where you were courageous and go back and think about that. What does courage look like? What did it look like back then? You can duplicate it. Just be awesome. Just tell yourself I'm awesome. That's all. Are you awesome, ladies? I hope you are. I hope you believe you are. Okay. Last. Mel Robbins has a book on building your self-confidence. It's the high five. I think she combined the high five, 5-second. I haven't read it, but I've read a lot about it and I'm going to get it. She says one of the things that you can do for yourself, the easiest thing that you can do for yourself to boost your self-confidence every day, the simplest practice. If everything that I've taught you here today fails, go in the mirror every morning. Give yourself a high five in the mirror. Give yourself a, once you keep, it might seem funny, right? I used to find it so funny talking to myself in the mirror. Those affirmations, I used to have them on the mirror. I think that was like 5 years ago. I'll put affirmations on my mirror and I'll be saying to myself, I am great. I can succeed. Saying what? And then I would laugh at myself. But now I look at myself in the mirror and be like, look, child, this is what we're going to do today. All right. Now let's step up. Let's work on what we need to work on. Let's do ABC. I talk to myself because I can't, if I talk bad back to myself, I can correct myself. Other than if somebody else talks bad to me, I don't need to correct them. All right. So give yourself a high five. She says, when you get in the practice of doing this, the physiology, the practice of giving yourself a high five in the mirror will translate and it will give you some intrinsic value. All right. So it will do something for building your self-confidence internally. As she says, stop seeking approval from others, give it to yourself instead. All right, ladies. I have overstepped the time boundary, 5:09. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions, please do ask. The flow is open. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram. I'm always posting free stuff, as well as on my mailing list, which you can access through my website. And these are the things that we work on. I mean, everybody comes with their problem that this is what I need to work on. Underneath the symptoms is self-confidence that we need to build to boost back up. Most people who get into burnout actually lose their confidence somewhere, somehow, because now they feel like they're not able to do what they need to do to achieve what they need to achieve. Okay, so comments, questions, anything, the flow is yours. Oh, oops. Didn't mean to do that. Hold on, let me leave this slide on. Can you still see me? Uh-oh. There we go. All right, let me see messages. Thank you so much, Janet. You're welcome. Very encouraging. Thank you. This was very helpful. Thank you. Do the takeaways. I mean, practice, guys. Practice. Take action. Don't be afraid to take action because nobody else is going to do it for you. Just take action. Nice session. It's been my first one, and I must say I'm impressed. Thank you. All right. Any questions? You have my contacts. I stopped screen sharing. Did I? Can you see the screen? Somebody raised their hand. Yes, Janet.
No, we can't. No.
Sorry?
You took a screen off.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, great. Thank you very, very much. Quite informative. I have a couple of takeaways. One, of my questions. One, I pray you will share the recording. I was multitasking to take the notes, but however, there's some of the things we have to deal with the killers. One of the things I always do that affects my self-confidence is perfectionism. Like I want everything to be very perfect. The report, the comma has to be the right place. Then the other thing is validation from the people we think matter so much in our life, in my life. I always think, how will they say this? What will they say for this? What will they think of this? Then I want to please them even more than I actually please myself. Think of pleasing myself. So I'm silently thinking, how do I deal with those two areas? Like, how do I give up wanting things to be very perfect and hearing that they are not perfect? And how do I deal with pleasing people, wanting to please the people I think matter in my life? Thank you.
Okay. All right. So if you are the type of person who likes perfectionism, the one thing that you want to ask yourself is, what if it is not perfect? What if I don't achieve the perfectionism that I'm looking for? What's the worst that could happen? The worst that can happen is a feeling. That's it. Because what happens with perfectionism, in fact, I think I wrote a post this week, on my social media platform. I always post the same thing. When you think about perfectionism and how can you measure it? How do you even measure it? So it holds you back a lot. You won't be able to ask for help. You're always looking for what's going to go wrong. And you're always thinking that somebody else is not going to do it right. And then it weighs you down with all these things that you're doing constantly, and you're doing them yourself constantly. It can get really exhausting. And actually, it's one of the reasons why people end up in burnout. So ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen today if I did this one thing and it wasn't perfect? And start with the little ones. Start with the little ones that you can let go of. Choose, where do I seek perfection? Choose all the areas in your life that you're seeking perfection. Pick the smallest one that won't hurt you if it doesn't go, that won't hurt you so bad if it's not perfect. And then ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? The worst that can happen is a feeling, always. Nothing but a feeling, people. Feeling, that's it. So let it go. Let go of the perfectionism. Women, especially at home, house help, you want them to iron your sheets a certain way, or you want them to clean the house a certain way. I mean, sometimes just let go of that one little thing that's not going to affect anyone. And then see how you feel after that, right? So perfectionism, what's the worst that can happen? Ask yourself that question. And then your second was about seeking other people's validation. We tend to do that a lot at work, in our relationships. We want people to like us. And in fact, we've been raised with such, I don't know about the cultures, but the Maganda, that good girl attitude, that good girl character, it is a good thing. But for many of us, it depletes our confidence. If you're seeking for somebody else's approval, ask yourself, why can't I approve myself of this, of whatever approval you're seeking? Why can I not? That's a void. The reason you're seeking somebody else's approval, you want them to fill that void because you're not able to approve of yourself, right? Then the next question would be, if I got their approval, then what? If you notice that getting their approval is what makes you or helps you thrive, then ask yourself, what is it that I'm giving up of myself? What am I giving up of myself that is not allowing me to thrive? Because when you want somebody else's approval, you're giving your power to them. You're handing it over to them and telling them, look, I'm giving you all my power. Approve of me. Those are the questions you want to ask yourself. All right. Take that approval back. Take that power back. It's for you. Any other questions? I hope that answered your question, Janet.
Sure did. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, the recording is going to be, I'm going to post it on my first Facebook group, ladies. If you would like to join my Facebook group, I have the links pasted everywhere on my social media. I can do that here now, actually. I'm going to post it there. And what I'll be doing in the group is I will be coming up with content specifically for ladies, and I'll be holding my sessions in the group, specifically in the group. So moving forward, that's what I'm going to be doing. It's not going to be, you know, yeah, I'll have a Zoom, maybe Zoom and the group. Today I failed to connect to Zoom live in the group. Something about my setting must have changed. So feel free if you want to join the group. I've posted the link. And when you do go on my website, you can join my mailing list. I'm always sending out stuff, free content, how-tos, or whatever that, can help you move forward in life or create that success that you want to create. All right. So it is 5:18, and if there are no more questions, I really would like to close this now. And I'm planning on doing an event every month. So look out. Again, if you're following me or if you're in the mailing list, you will know. Look out for them. Okay. And thank you so much. Really appreciate your patience and giving this a chance. I do not take it for granted. I appreciate you all. Thank you. You will be able to find it on my YouTube as well. Jeez. And the phone is loud. All right, ladies, thank you so much. I'm going to close it out now. All right. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. Bye-bye. Have a good day.